Minister, thank you for joining us. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you're negotiating trade deals. Is the world coming together? Are we going to have deals, or are we further deglobalizing?
Well, thank you so much for the invitations. The supply chain and the trade were dominating most of the discussion throughout the Davos. It's a big issue. We saw it through the pandemics and now with the geopolitical matters. And the world has to get together if we really want to cool down this high spikes on the prices and every commodities that is reaching to the parts of the world. Are we going to reach a deal? It seems to be very difficult from the discussions. No. Every countries and nations are putting their interests on the table, but we at the UAE we're taking different directions. We're opening up and we're continuing. Signing deals with countries, so we continue with the same globalization definitions that we know before.
So, Minister, how many deals are you expecting to sign? Actually, are there specific sectors right now that could benefit from multilateral or unilateral deals?
The key sector nowadays is the logistics, because we want to ensure that the smooth commodities are moving from one place to the other. But throughout the discussion here and throughout the Davos and even the outcomes which we're going to take forward, how we're going to ensure the implementation of the mega trade deals that has been signed, like the RCEP, for example, and how we're ensuring that is going to be expediting having 30% of the global world in one block. As a UAE, we signed the first comprehensive economic partnership agreements just a few months ago. It got into effect earlier this month. We have now an access to 1.4 billion markets. We're signing one next week with Israel, and we're going to continue doing so.
Minister, we spoke to a number of very big players in, of course, the oil and gas space. With energy so elevated and the oil price so advantageous, does it make it more difficult for the UAE to diversify away from oil?
Well, the diversification decision has been taken decades ago, so it's not new for us. And this diversification process went through the different waves of prices going up and down throughout the last 15 years at least, and we managed to move quickly on our plan. The minute that you have a goal and you have a systematic approach, you're going to do it. And that's what exactly we're doing in our preparation for the upcoming 50 years through different projects that we launched. Openness, liberalizations, continuing investing in industries, and attraction of the investments to the country.
So nothing's changed?
Nothing changed, and we're going to continue with the same plan, diversifications and knowledge-based economy. In knowledge-based economy, the human capital is the key aspects of this movement.
Are there certain sectors, I mean, when you look at diversification, we're talking about logistics, but is it logistics can really take a bulk of, economic growth going forward? We
do have an excellent logistic infrastructure, and we're connected to at least 250 ports and almost 400 cities around the world. Are we going to take this forward? Absolutely. The investment is going to be continued, and through the different agreements, we're going to ensure that we're bringing the efficiency into the supply chain that we're having. The other sectors which we're keen on, for sure, we're going to continue with the conventional sectors, the tourism, the petrochemical investments, health, food, etc. But at the same time, we're going to focus on the futuristic sectors, fintech, the technology, advanced science, which we saw the importance of those sectors during the pandemic and during the last few months.
I mean, of course, it's extremely difficult to move things from A to B because of inflation, because of shipping. Are you expecting supply chains to normalize after the end of this year, or can this kind of fluctuation of prices and uncertainty stay for much longer?
Well, from the forecast, it seems to be the worst has not come yet, and the prices of the commodities are going to increase in the upcoming few months. The other challenge, the global challenge which is going to face the world, is the real production itself, the cultivations of commodities and wheat and grains in particular, which is going to be next season. So the wars are going to come. What we want from the world is that they have to work together. The synergy is very crucial now, and let's put our egos and our political matters aside and think about how we're going to come out more strongly from this tough situation that faced the world.
And when do you think we'll be over the worst? When's peak stress for trade globally?
It's going to have to happen soon. So in the upcoming few months, we're seeing things are picking up.
Have you enjoyed Davos? Anything productive? What's the question you've been getting the most?
Very much how the UAE is tackling this, and throughout the various engagements of our delegations and ministerial participations, we sent very strong messages that we're part of the global. We're going to do the best to bring the best practices, and we're going to continue with the same principles that the nation has been built upon. sustainability, openness, and communications, and reaching out to everyone. And that's the message that everyone has to carry out from Davos.
Because of the specter of recession globally, in certain parts of the world, do you think trade deals are being signed quicker? Usually it takes years. Do you think there's going to be an acceleration of that process?
It all depends on the willingness of countries. We saw that throughout our discussion and negotiation with India. We did it in 88 days. We did the second one with Israel in 4.5 months for deals which usually takes more than a year or two. So if the willingness is there from both parties, things are going to progress. The same thing with RCEP, which has been discussed as well earlier today. It all depends on the countries in moving quickly and see the added value of such agreements. Let's forget the small stuff, which is going to be a barrier, but the bigger picture has to be always the key objectives and aims for all of us.
Minister, thank you so much for joining us on Bloomberg TV today. That was the UAE Trade Minister, Thani bin Ahmed Al Zeyoudi.